Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? I hope everybody is well today, this Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon, depending on where you are in Spain or other parts of the world at the moment. I'm in Portugal, as people know, and how would I describe the weather today? Sunny's in the afternoons, a bit overcast in the morning, but apart from that, all is good in this part of the world. And I hope everybody is well where they are today. Now, firstly, I'll just say that there was a bit of a mix-up with the time, apparently, for this live stream. It was set to go off this morning at 11:30 a.m., which was a mistake, so I apologize for that. And if anybody was waiting around for me to start the live stream this morning, as I said, sorry for that. The normal time, of course, is 7:30 p.m. Spain mainland time, which is what it is now. So straight into the comment section. Pat's in there today, hoping that I am well. I am, Pat. Hope you are well too. Back in Galicia, still in Asturias, let us know. Robert Perez coming in from Vancouver, looking forward to the live stream. Chris, regular viewer, coming in from Alora, the broiling Valle del Sol. Steve coming in from Surrey, saying that the grass is not very green at the moment and a hose pipe ban on the way. Yeah, there was an article in the Spanish press today, Steve, just showing how parched some of the grasslands are in the southeast part of Spain. I think London they were talking about, and very brown conditions, comparing it to what it looks like in Madrid at this time of the year when everything is brown. So some comparisons being made, and water restrictions on the cards there. Nikki coming in from the UK, I think. Hello, Nikki. Hope all is well. Jose Antonio coming in from Real. Terrible hygiene. I think that's the title of today's video. That's exactly right. What else we got going on here? Dave coming in from Madrid, St. Pete to Madrid. Warm Madrid, as always there, Dave, this time of year. Mugger coming in from a toasty 25 degrees in Dublin. And Andrew coming in from southeast London, 30 degrees there today. And Pat has got back to us, and she says that Town Festival is over and she can sleep again back in Galicia. So I hope all is well there, Pat. Now, we'll have a look at some news. We'll have a look at some comments. And the first piece of news that I'm going to look at today is this one here. And it is the first day with temperature limitation. Having the aircon on at 27 degrees is the same as not using it at all, somebody was quoted as saying. It has been the day of the adaptation of thermometers, thermostats and habitats to cool the premises in the middle of a heat wave without going below 27 degrees in the cooling systems. Normally, we used to keep the shop at 20 degrees Celsius with the air conditioning, but with the decree, it has to be set to 27. So we have opted to open the doors to air it out and make it a little cooler. We dispensed with the air conditioning because if we set it at that temperature, it feels hotter, says the manager of Little Lola shop in San Sebastian in the Basque Country. So there we go. Some people deciding to turn their air conditioning off rather than have it at 27 degrees Celsius. And there were various reports like this throughout the press. Every press outlet in Spain had a similar theme. People complaining about these new rules, having trouble to adapt to the new rules. And some people saying that it's just there's no point having the air conditioning on if it's set at 27 degrees. Because I think they, as we saw in that article there, they normally have the air conditioning set to 20 degrees. So it's a big difference, 20 to 27. So a little bit confusing for some, this new mandate. So let us know if you are in Spain, if you have noticed shops adhering to this new rule, because of course they have to put a sign up saying what they are doing to save energy. And some of the biggest complaints have been from people in the north of the country, people in the south of the country, because of course the heat in the south is not the same as the heat in the north. So having a similar temperature set for the whole country, for some people it doesn't make sense. But as we know, and we saw during the pandemic when there were restrictions, the same restrictions all over the country, it didn't matter where you were, everybody had the same restrictions. So the government deciding that they think the best thing to do is give the same restrictions for everybody, regardless of where you are in the country. All right, we'll go into the chat section. see what's going on there today. We've got people coming in from various parts of the world. Let's have a look. Alan coming in from El Puerto. Well, he's in Cadiz normally, but today in San Diego until September, says Alan. Amanda's in the house coming from the UK. Kevin coming in. Thought something had run dry. Pothole, whatever that is. Ola Bom Dia coming in from Portugal. UB. What else we got going on here in the chat section? Babs is here. Nearly missed it. Sorry, Babs. I saw you were one of the people that got had a problem with the time confusion. My fault. I said earlier in the video something happened with the time when I said it, and it didn't set the time that I thought I had set it to. So a bit confusing there. What else we got going on? John saying, ice in beer, no way. You can freeze beer and add it to your beer to keep it cold. That's right. Normally we don't put ice in beer, John, but a nice frosty cold beer goes down well at this time of the year. It does indeed. What else we got going on? Alan is here as usual. We've got Amanda here as well. Brian coming in from Sunderland, I think. Not sure. Let's have a look. Looking forward to picking up his keys for the new holiday apartment in Alhama, Murcia, and playing some golf at the end of October. Some good weather. Good to see Brian. Looking forward to picking up those keys there to your new apartment and maybe getting a few holes under your belt at the local golf course. So good to see. All right, good. Now we'll go into the second piece of news today, also related to saving energy. And as we can see here, the government will demand more energy-saving measures from the autonomous communities. Increased air conditioning temperatures in shops, offices and stations at the end, and the sight of shop windows turned off in city centres are just the tip of the iceberg on the energy savings needed to meet the commitments demanded by the European Union. Spain will be forced to implement a much more drastic plan from September, which will require a much stricter measure to achieve the commitment to reduce gas consumption by 7%, because the current ones are not enough to reach that figure, apparently. So there we go. Just the tip of the iceberg, the current measures in Spain, and more will be announced from September on when the government comes back from holidays. Because as we know, everything in Spain at the moment is stopped because everybody is on holidays in August. Nothing happens. So when the government comes back in September, more measures will be announced because they need to get down to that 7% energy saving limit. And apparently modifying the temperature of air conditioners is not enough. So more measures on the cards, according to that newspaper, El Mundo, I think it was, who put that news story forward. Now, let's get some likes here. 53 likes at the moment. I'll put the like button on the screen if I can find it. Here we go. So hit the like button if you have not done so already. There's 113 people watching today. A little bit... Sorry, not as many people watching as usual. I think it's due to the confusion of the time, but what can I do? I can't change that now. So let's see what else we've got going on here in the chat section. What else we got going on here? Frozen beer, genius. Don't think it can happen. I don't think beer is all that tasty when it's frozen, Babs. I don't think. It has to be a certain temperature, close to freezing. I think in Australia we drink beer close to freezing, but cold anyway. But I think frozen beer is no good, in my opinion. What else we got going on here? Kevin coming in. Potho. Well, I don't know what that means, Kevin. Kelvin, sorry. Please explain. Kevo coming in from Alcobendas. Joseph in New Jersey, I think that is, or maybe Jersey in the UK. Not sure where that is. Hot in Wolverhampton today, 35 degrees, says Jason. So it seems to be hot in the UK again. What's going on with the UK summer this year? Maybe it will put people off travelling to foreign destinations if the weather continues to be hot in that part of the world. People will head to places like Brighton for their holidays. Gino coming in. ¿Qué tal? I'm good, Gino. Hope you are well as well. What else we got going on here? Erica's left a chat here. The town hall in Terrassa tells elderly people to go to the supermarkets to avoid the heat waves. But if it is set at 27 degrees, what difference does it make if the temperature is at 31 degrees? Okay, put that question out there, Erica. What else we got going on here in the chat section? Stephen coming in from Jerez de la Frontera, just up the road from El Puerto. Are they still going to use energy to run fountains, says Stephen. Don't know the answer to that. What else we got going on here? Cold beer. Keep terracotta jugs with handles in the freezer and pour your beer in that. It stays cold for ages, says Andrew. So a good tip there to keep beer cold. So let's have another beer chat today, if we can, on how people keep their beer cold. I found it the best way to keep beer cold is in a nice esky full of ice. If you're not sure what an esky is, I think some people call it a cool box. But it's like a big plastic container that you can fill with ice on a hot summer's day to keep your beverages cold. An esky. All right, what else we got going on here in the news? Let's have a look. Petrol and diesel prices fall by more than 2% in the last week. So some relief, finally, when it comes to putting fuel in the car for many. Petrol and diesel have fallen by more than 2% in the last week. Average prices are €1.66 and €1.65, €4 per litre, respectively, after applying the mandatory 20-cent discount set by the government. Both fuels remain at their lowest level since last May, according to data released on Thursday by the European Union Oil Bulletin, which shows the average price recorded at more than 11,400 service stations between the 2nd and 8th of August. The price of fuels fell below the €2 mark, €2 per litre mark once again, even without the public subsidy. So there we go, fuel prices on the way down. I have noticed that here in Portugal as well, you can pick up unleaded fuel, 95 octane fuel unleaded for around $1.80 and diesel a little bit cheaper than that. So fuel prices on the way down in both countries, and I imagine that's the case in all European countries at the moment, and probably most countries around the world that have seen an increase in recent times. Those increases now on the way down. All right, what else we got going on here? So we're up to 133 people watching, 86 likes. So I'll put the like button up on the screen again. Hit the like button if you can. It keeps me motivated. What else we got going on here in the chat section? Pat putting a question out here now. I wonder what percentage of energy use is from big business and not the small consumer. Can savings be made there also? No doubt, Pat. I obviously have no doubt that big business can save also. Are you talking about big industry, big business, offices? Let us know exactly what type of business you're talking about there. So I think there's just a general energy savings plan on at the moment to get below the 7% or that 7% energy reduction that Spain has promised the European Union. 15% in other countries, 7% in Spain. All right, what else we got going on here? Edward coming in, hoping that Spain cools down by the time he visits at the end of October, hoping that is the case. No doubt that will be the case, Edward. By the end of October, Spain will be a cooler country again, no doubt. It's just been these last few months that have been very, very hot. But October, normally you get that seasonal change and things start to get a little bit cooler all around the country. So I wouldn't worry about that. What else we got going on here? Mick, back in Staffordshire for a few days. Cheers, Mick. Have a good time there, Mick, in Staffordshire. I hope you enjoy your time back in the United Kingdom, back in England. Kevo asking a question here, or putting a statement forward, let's say. Was on holiday in Gandia last week. Mercadona was like the Arctic. True, lots of people were relaxing in a seating area. Yeah, so that's the idea, I think, Kevo, to get those businesses to turn up the air conditioner and not make them too cold, because people on this channel have complained that sometimes you go into these businesses and they're too cold. So maybe they need to figure out what the right temperature is Whether it's 27 degrees, I do not know, but sometimes you do get the feeling that the air conditioning is too low. Absolutely. All right, good. What else we got going on here? Ignace, hot in Utrecht at the moment, so it seems to be hot everywhere. What can we do? What can we do? Donald saying that he went to the hospital. The air conditioning was set to 24 degrees. I think hospitals don't have to comply with the 27-degree rule, Donald. I think they are exempt from the rule. Hospitals and health centres, I think, and some other businesses as well also. I think we saw the other day that canteen kitchens or restaurant kitchens don't have to adhere to the rule. Gyms don't have to adhere to the rule. There are various businesses that are exempt. So I think health centres like hospitals also don't have to follow the 27-degree rule. Now, the last piece of news that we'll look at today, this one here, the Civil Guard, the Guardia Civil, seizes 90 kilos of kebab meat transported in a boot without hygienic measures after the Arenal Sound Festival. The well-known Arenal Sound Festival in Burriana, Castellón is again making headlines in the police controls following the celebration of the event in the nearby town of Almazora. The Guardia Civil intercepted 90 kilos of frozen kebab meat in the boot of a vehicle. The goods were being transported without any hygienic sanitary measures and breaking the cold chain necessary for the proper preservation of the product. The owner claimed that his intention was to return the load to the distributor and that it was leftover material from the stall he had been running outside the Arenal Sound venue. So there we go, dodgy kebab meat not meeting hygienic measures or conditions, being transported in the boot of someone's car. So I wouldn't like to be having a kebab in that part of Spain in the near future, especially with some of that dodgy kebab meat that must be going around down there, because they stopped him. But were there more vehicles travelling with this dodgy meat in the boot or in the trunk, as our American friends would say? I don't know, but be careful with dodgy kebab meat if you are in that part of Spain. Where was it? Castellón, after one of these festivals. So I've never really been a fan of kebabs in Spain. I don't know what my issue is, but they seem to be made differently in Spain to the way they're made in Australia. In Australia, the kebabs that I've always had were like a shish kebab type of setup with pieces of meat on a long stick. They would take the meat off the stick, put it into the kebab, and away you went. But in Spain, they have these big rolls of meat where they cut the meat off, and I've never really been a fan of that type of kebab. Don't know what the kebab situation is in other parts of the world, but different from where I come from in Perth, kebabs, to what they are like in Spain, and I don't really trust that type of meat. How long has it been sitting there? That's the question that I always ask myself when I walk past a kebab shop and see that meat on those big skewers. All right, what else is going on here? We're up to 169 people watching now 108 likes. I'll put the like button back on the screen just in case somebody hasn't hit the like button. Please do so. And we'll go into the first comment today, and it is this one here from Eric. Hi Stu, love your channel, very informative. Since me and my wife are deciding to leave the States and move to Asturias, what do you think is a good idea? What do you think? Is it a good idea or should we wait? God bless you, Stu. Eric, I don't know, to be honest, whether it's a good time to move or not. I probably would say yes. There's no time like the present, as they say. And Asturias is not going to change. I don't think a lot of the conditions are going to change, Eric. So if you're planning to move to a place like Asturias, maybe come over and check it out for a period of time. Maybe rent something for a few months, check it out, see what it's like, see if it is the right time to move, and then take the decision, because obviously moving from the States to a country like Spain is a big decision for a lot of people. But that would be my suggestion. Come over, live for a period of time, see if you like it. Don't commit everything just yet. And if you do find that Asturias is to your liking, then take the decision to move permanently. But Asturias, one of my favourite places in Spain, especially in the summer months where it's a bit cooler than the rest of the country. You can find green vegetation, which you can't do where I live in Spain, and it's a nice change to get to that part of the world. Although it is a little bit wet in the winter months, but of course, to get that green scenery, you need rain, and that's, of course, is the characteristic of Asturias. And a lot of people are buying property in Asturias at the moment. My neighbours have bought property in Asturias. Some friends of mine have recently bought property in Asturias, in one of these smaller villages there where property is a little bit cheaper than in the big cities. So it could be the time, Eric, to move to a place like Asturias, but my advice would be move, check it out, rent for a few months. If it is for you, then take the decision to move permanently. All right, good. What else we got going on here? Fuel prices coming down in Canada as well, says Robert. I imagine it is the case. I think it's an international thing, of course. The international price for a barrel of oil comes down, and then prices are reflected around various service stations or petrol stations. What else we got going on here in the chat section here? Petrol also falling in the US. There we go. So falling around the world. What else? Chris says here, another good policy for drinking cold beer is to drink it before it has a chance to warm up. Yeah, good piece of advice there. A good tip, pro tip there, Chris. Drink it before it gets warm. That's also something we could talk about another day. Warm beer. What temperature should beer be drunk at? Even lager beer in the UK tends to be a lot warmer than a lager in Australia. So we could have that conversation. What else we got going on? Alan says hysteria here again in the UK. Hosepipe bans, wildfires, comparing it with the past. So hysteria, says Alan. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look if I can find something. Debbie talking about air conditioning. So plenty of comment going on in the chat section. Elaine saying that gas is under $4 a gallon here in the States. And David putting a chat up here talking about the 15 best cities for quality of life in Spain. Didn't see Granada on the list. What's your opinion of Granada? Yeah, a lot of foreigners moved to Granada, David, so it is a popular city. I suppose we're talking about Granada City or Granada Province. Either way, it is a province that offers quite a lot. You've got coastal areas in Granada, you've got mountains in Granada, you've got fantastic history in Granada. There's a great food culture in Granada. It is one of those cities that is high on people's list, not only to visit on holidays, but also to live. Lots of foreigners living in the Granada community. So it is a popular place and it has a lot to offer. Why it wasn't on that list, I've got no idea. I think they only talked about 15 cities, and they did mention some cities in Andalusia. I think Cordoba was mentioned, Malaga was mentioned as well, but I don't know why Granada was not on the list of 15. Maybe it was just outside the 15. I have no idea, or maybe it just wasn't included in that report. To be honest, I've got no idea, but it is a city that does offer a lot from a quality of life point of view. As I said, you've got the mountain aspect there, you've got the coastal aspect there as well. It's well connected by train now to other cities in Spain. Fast train goes to Granada. So it is a city that does offer a lot, in my opinion. All right, we've got a super chat from Alan. I'll put this one on the screen here. Thank you very much, Alan. $10 nearly, $9.99. Thank you very much for that. Appreciated. What else? We're up to 189 people watching now, 128 likes. So I'll just put the like button back on the screen again. So if you haven't hit that like button, please do so just below the video. And while you're there, you could also subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and you'll get notifications about when these videos go live and about when I post other videos. You'll get a notification. All right, good. What else is going on here? Unleaded in Surrey, £177 today. So on the way down there as well. What else we got going on here? Yogi saying, thanks for getting me through the lockdown period with your great videos. Thank you very much, Yogi, for tuning in during that period. I know it was a difficult time for many. that lockdown period in Spain and around the world. Spain's lockdown was particularly hard for a lot of people, but we got through it. Luckily, we got through it. What else we got going on here? A lot of talk about the price of petrol again. Stephen says all kebab meat is dodgy. Seems to be... Stephen, I don't want to talk too negatively about the kebab industry, but a lot of those big pieces of meat that you see roasting away, how long has it been sitting there? That's the question that I often have. And kebab places where I live in particular are popping up like mushrooms. So there's at least 4 or 5 kebab places that have opened up in the last few years where I live. So they must be popular, kebabs. They must be popular. But again, Spanish kebabs, not my favorite type of kebab. Not my favorite type of kebab. I remember a fantastic one in London back in the day when I lived there not far from where I was living in London. They had very good kebabs and great kebabs in Australia, but in Spain, I'm not convinced. Super chat from Bob, €10. Thank you very much for that, Bob. Thank you very much for your generosity there. €10, appreciated. What else we got going on? Good hot Spain today, says Jimbo. Yes, I think it's hot all around the country, but there is a change coming. I'll put that out there. There is a change coming. Jose Antonio saying that thousands of young people at the festival with diarrhea. It would be nasty. It would be nasty if that was the case, if people got diarrhea from that dodgy meat. But apparently he was taking the meat away from the festival after when it had finished. He wasn't on his way to the festival with the meat in the boot. How we got the meat to the festival, I've got no idea. But apparently the festival was over and he was taking the meat back to the distributor. That was his excuse, at least. But that meat, no doubt, would have to be destroyed. Kevo talking about pincho moruno, which is meat on a skewer, a type of pork meat, is it? Pincho moruno? I think so. It's a pork meat. Ignace clarifying that there's different types of kebabs. Durham kebab, shish kebabs, that is true. Shish kebabs for me. Bill saying that in Los Angeles, petrol is at $6 a litre. So we saw prices in the States, somebody said 4. Bill's saying that it's 6. So different prices there. What else we got going on? Can we get to 150 likes? Says Andrew. Well, we're not far off. So I imagine that we will get to 150 likes today. Hopefully that will be the case. Now we'll have a look at another comment. Let's have a look at this one here. Astrology First, saying that I beg to differ. Madrid is amazing and beautiful. This related to the report that we mentioned a couple of minutes ago that talked about the best cities in Spain for quality of life. And Madrid was not at the top of the list. It was at the bottom of the list with Barcelona. And there were 13 other cities in Spain with better quality of life in that report than Madrid and Barcelona. And it's big city living, I think, is the reason that Madrid and Barcelona didn't do very well on that list. People love Madrid, people love Barcelona, but I think when it comes to quality of life and some of the things that you can get in a smaller city in Spain, I'm not talking about a 50 or 60,000 people city, but even a city with 200, 300,000, 400,000 people. For example, Zaragoza was on that list the other day in a fairly high position. Vigo is not a small city, but they're smaller cities than the big ones. So the Madrid's 3.5 million people, Barcelona 3 million people almost. Too many big city problems. So quality of life in the smaller cities, the regional capitals, maybe Zaragoza, regional capital of Aragon. Vigo is not the capital, but I think it's the biggest city in Galicia. So those are the places where you can still get all of the services, but you don't have those big city problems that you get in Madrid and Barcelona when it comes to quality of life. And in a city like Madrid, half of your day is lost commuting, basically. If you wake up in the morning and have to travel to the other side of the city to work, traffic jam, way back, traffic jam as well. Public transport from one side of the city can take a long time as well. So there are advantages of living in a big city in Spain, especially work opportunities. But if that's not the case, then a big city like Madrid or Barcelona is not the best when it comes to quality of life, in my opinion anyway. So there are some pros, but I think there are more cons of living in a big city like Madrid or Barcelona compared to some of those other smaller regional capitals where, as I said, you get all of the services, you get everything that you need, but you don't have to put up with that big city stress. All right, what else we got going on here in the chat section? Stephen's saying that after the 20-cent reduction, it's 148.4 per litre in Jerez, Cádiz. So the discount is still in place. The 20-cent discount is still in place. So take advantage of that while it lasts. I don't know how long it's going to be around for. It was only supposed to be up to the end of June or July, I think, but they extended it, and so it most likely will come to an end soon. All right, what else we got going on here? Good kebabs in Brussels, says Jose Antonio. Heatwaves, Makish saying that the heat wave in the UK or in London makes people smell like kebab meat on the tubes. Hygiene seems to be an issue in this period. It's an issue everywhere you go when you hop on a metro or a tube or an underground carriage, Makish. I think on a hot summer's day, even in Madrid, you can get some fairly nasty smells going on. But what can we do if people choose not to wear deodorant? There's nothing much we can do about that. All right, what else we got going on here? Plenty of talk about kebabs in general in the chat section. Pincho Moruno is with pork in Spain. I think that is true. Normally, the Pincho Moruno is a pork product. As a lot of products in Spain, pork, very, very popular, as we know. The most popular meat in Spain, I think, pork. All right, let's have a look at another comment. This one here from Paul. How would the aircon temperature regulation be enforced? Will the local police be swooping on an establishment and checking the thermostat? I think not, he says. Good question, Paul. Not sure how they're going to police this. I think they expect people to abide with the new rules. I think they expect businesses to automatically set those temperatures to 27 degrees. Maybe there will be the odd police check. As we know, the local police do go around to businesses to check that licenses are in order on a daily basis. So no doubt local police will be checking to see whether those air conditioners are set to 27 degrees or not. But again, another thing that is very, very hard to police. And some of the fines that I read the other day, if businesses don't comply with these new rules, are very, very high. So I imagine the government thinks that everybody's going to be on board with these energy-saving things that have come into force yesterday. All right, what else we got going on here in the chat section? We're up to the 33-minute mark, so a couple of minutes more. 170 likes, more than I expected. So I'll put the like button back on the screen. If anybody hasn't hit that like button, please do so. We'll have a look at a couple more comments and then we will, then I'll call it a day. So we'll have a look at the next one here. The next comment from yesterday's video from Kerry, saying that the canyon where she lives is called Paraíso by the locals. It's at 750 meters above sea level. There's usually a cooling breeze, and rather than all the traffic and concrete, I prefer to be surrounded by trees and wildlife. I think some of the reasons for having cities are obsolescent, and the builder's truck going past me further up the mountain and increasing frequency tells me that there is a move back to the campo with solar power and a garden full of fruit and nuts and awe-inspiring views wherever you look. I think the standard of living here is pretty damn good. There we go, in paradise. Kerry there, a canyon called Paradise. Yeah, a move away from cities, don't know. If there was a brief move away from cities after the pandemic, there was lots of talk about people, when people were able to work from home, people were going back to the pueblo, people were getting out of cities, going to smaller villages and towns because they had the option to work from home. They didn't have to commute every day, but that's changed. A lot of businesses have called their workers back. Teleworking for a lot of companies is a thing of the past, especially The people that I know, I don't think anybody's teleworking at the moment full-time. I think maybe 2 days a week, maximum 3 days a week teleworking, but the majority of people have gone back to the office at least 3 days a week, people that I know at least. So the idea of moving to a smaller town for permanently has gone out the window for a lot of people, but some people, no doubt, Kerry, have changed their minds and have moved to the campo, where you do have a better quality of life if you don't depend on a company for work, basically. If you don't have to work, if you are able to work from home full time, if you are retired, then obviously that could be a choice. But for a lot of people, the services that the city offers, the services that a big city offers, are what draw people to cities. And as we know, in a country like Spain, Madrid has the most amount of services, but you can get services, as I said before, in some of those smaller regional capitals. So keep those in mind. All right, what else we got going on? Bill's saying that Los Angeles is terrible now, so expensive. What else we got going on? Let's see. Many times, let's have a look at this one here. Jose Antonio, many times I arrive at my house in Ciudad Real coming from Madrid before my colleagues in Madrid arrive at their homes. That is true, Jose Antonio. That's the big problem with Madrid. I have a friend who spends at least 45 minutes every day traveling to and from work, and probably if you catch a train to Ciudad Real, 50 minutes maybe? So probably you would be home before he gets home sometimes, and that's 45 minutes with normal traffic. When there's a traffic jam, it takes him even longer. And by the end of the week, he is extremely tired after commuting so far every day. And again, if you take public transport from where I live to some parts of the city, you're spending more than an hour to get home. So that's the problem of living in a big city in Spain. Well, not only in Spain, but around the world, because London is terrible as well. I imagine New York is terrible from a commuting point of view. Australian cities are terrible when it comes to commuting as well. So all big cities seem to be affected by traffic problems for commuters. All right, what else we got going on here? Steve-O asking a question. Is the drought last winter still affecting Spain? The answer to that question is yes, Steve-O. The drought has meant that water restrictions are in place in some autonomous communities. I think Andalusia, in some parts, there are water restrictions. Galicia has water restrictions in some parts of it. I think in Catalonia also. So there are water restrictions as a result of the winter drought. All right, 187 likes, 219 people watching. I'm going to start to wrap the video up. Sorry if I haven't got through every chat. A lot of activity in the chat section. I wasn't expecting it today because of the time confusion. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. I'll be back again on Sunday. I might put a video out on Saturday. Can't guarantee it because I'm looking to take a few days off. So I'll see when if I can get around to having a few days off. So can't guarantee a video on Saturday, but a live stream again on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. mainland time. Thanks everybody for your participation today in the chat section. Thank you very much for viewing. Thank you very much to people that contributed with a super chat. I will see you all in the near future. Sunday, as I said. Hasta luego. Hasta entonces. Have a good day.